I've spent months researching occupational deaths, and nothing compares to what I found in logging fatalities. These aren't some sanitized stories. They're brutal, suffocating accounts of men crushed by nature's giants. The Bureau of Labor Statistics confirms logging has a fatality rate 30 times higher than average jobs, and today I'm showing you exactly why. Number 1, the pile logging disaster, when the mountain took 4 men. In Oregon 1993, the pile crew worked on a slope so steep that standing was a struggle. 4 men faced a massive Douglas fir over 150 feet tall, dominating the hillside like a silent predator. When it fell, its lean and treacherous slope turned into a violent force. The ground erupted as mud, jagged timber, and rolling boulders swept everything away. The men ran, slipping helplessly, hearts pounding with nowhere to escape. 2 were swallowed by suffocating debris buried under tons of earth and shattered wood. The other 2 were plummeted by rolling logs, bodies battered and broken. Rescue crews spent hours digging through mud and timber. The company's reckless push onto deadly terrain had cost 4 lives forever. If you're still watching this, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm going to show you next is somehow even worse. And I guarantee most channels won't give you the unfiltered truth about what actually happens in these accidents. Number 2, the Widowmaker, death from above in Kentucky. In Kentucky, a logger faced a deadly threat of a Widowmaker, a massive rotting limb hanging 60 feet above. Clearing the forest with a chainsaw, he was unaware of the silent predator above. Suddenly, the 20-foot, half-ton branch gave way, crashing down with merciless force. It slammed across his shoulders and neck, driving him into the ground, crushing his upper spine and skull. His ribcage collapsed inward, bones contorting under the unbearable weight, while the sickening crack and thud horrified the crew 30 feet away, powerless to help. Even with 10 years of experience, his skill meant nothing. All vigilance, all protocol was useless. By the time anyone reached him, his life had been obliterated beneath the dead limb, leaving only death and devastation. Number 3, the skid steer penetration, when safety cabs failed. In Mississippi 2025, modern equipment was supposed to make logging safer, but it introduced a new nightmare. A 26-year-old operator worked inside a skid steer, a reinforced cab vehicle meant to shield him from falling debris. While repositioning a pile of freshly cut logs, one tree 40 feet long, weighing several thousand pounds, shifted unexpectedly. The butt end of the trunk drove into the cab like a deadly spear. The reinforced cage offered no protection against the unstoppable weight and momentum. The tree penetrated the cab door, crushing his torso and pinning him against the seat. His scream crackled over the radio once, then silence. When co-workers finally extracted the tree, the scene was horrifying, graphic beyond comprehension, so traumatic that several emergency responders required counseling. Every second of suffocation, compression, and terror was inescapable, leaving death absolute and merciless. Number 4, sudden impact, the tree that fell wrong. In 2015, a young logger in his early 20s faced the deadliest hazard, a tree that refused to obey. As the cutter, he followed every step perfectly, clearing the area, calculating the lean, making the notch and back cut, and retreating to safety. Yet, unseen rot at the base betrayed him. The massive trunk, over 80 feet tall and weighing 12,000 pounds, twisted violently as it fell, spinning nearly 90 degrees off course. It crashed onto him, flattening his chest and crushing lungs and bones. He struggled to breathe, trapped under the unyielding weight of timber. From 200 yards away, his father heard the wrong impact and ran, but lifting the tree was impossible. By the time heavy equipment arrived, life had slipped away. All skill, preparation, and hope obliterated in a single, merciless instant. Number 5, the hauling chain failure, betrayed by equipment. This final case occurred during timber transport, proving that danger doesn't end once the cut is made. A 41-year-old logger was securing a heavy load onto a flatbed truck using chains under extreme tension. One link, weakened by a microscopic fracture, gave way as he tightened it. The chain snapped violently, whipping through the air at over 100 miles an hour. It struck him across the face and throat with merciless force, crushing his larynx, fracturing his jaw in multiple places and causing massive trauma to his neck. Death came within seconds from hemorrhaging. His crew found him collapsed beside the truck, blood spanning a 15-foot radius, the chain lying a few feet away. 23 years of experience, 2 teenage daughters, and a lifetime of skill couldn't save him from this instantaneous, catastrophic, and excruciating death. Number 6, lodged pine betrays the logger, 1992. In 1992, a 53-year-old logger in a North Carolina forest faced one of the deadliest hazards of his career, a lodged pine precariously resting against another. What seemed like a routine clearing task turned instantly catastrophic. As he cut the supporting tree, tension shifted unpredictably. In a heartbeat, the 70-foot pine dislodged, crashing down with unstoppable force. The logger had no time to react. Its full weight slammed into him, pinning him to the forest floor, chest and torso crushed, ribs cracking, lungs suffocating under the merciless impact. His crew watched in helpless horror. Rescue teams arrived too late. Life had already been obliterated. Even the most skilled, cautious logger couldn't survive the crushing, lethal power of a stressed, lodged tree. Number 7. Logger struck by falling tree in Valmeyer, Illinois, 2015. In September 2015, on a remote logging site near the Mississippi River, a 46-year-old logger faced a kind of danger every timber worker knows, but prays never happens. During what should have been a routine cut, the massive tree he was felling didn't fall as expected. With barely a moment's warning, it came down with terrible force, striking him full on. The impact drove the wide truck into his body, chest compressing, breath stolen in an instant, leaving him unable to move or call out. His co-workers watched in horror, rushing to help, but the force of nature had already done its cruel work. The OSHA investigation later made clear that a lack of training turned a normal task into a fatal tragedy. Number 8. Logger killed by falling limb, 1983. In early 1983, 4 loggers were deep in a dense forest, methodically cutting timber, when nature silently betrayed them. A dried upper limb of a tree, weakened and brittle, brushed against another as the main trunk shifted. Without warning, the limb snapped off violently, plummeting toward one worker. The impact struck his head with crushing force, leaving him instantly lifeless, every instinct and preparation powerless against the sudden strike. His co-workers froze, helpless, watching the unpredictable violence of timber unfold. There was no escape, no warning, just the unbearable weight of nature's fury. Even the most careful handling of trees could not prevent this instant, merciless death, a chilling reminder that logging offers no guarantees, only peril. Number 9. Skidder operator fatality, 1993, when the machine turns on its operator. In 1993, a 28-year-old skidder operator in Oregon thought he was safe inside the reinforced cab of his machine, moving massive logs across a rugged hillside. Skidders are meant to protect operators from falling debris, but that protection proved fragile. After delivering a load, he stopped to unhook the cables. His foot slipped on the uneven ground, throwing him off balance. The heavy, unwieldy skidder lurched forward. Before anyone could react, the rear tire rolled over him, crushing his torso instantly. Ribs shattered, lungs compressed, and life was obliterated in seconds. This brutal incident proved that logging danger isn't limited to falling trees. Even machines designed to protect can turn lethal when terrain, weight, and a single misstep collide, leaving nothing but pain and fatal consequences. Number 10. Timberyard tragedies, sawmill fatalities, 1994 to 98. Between 1994 and 98, workers in sawmills and timber yards across Kentucky and Ontario faced the lethal unpredictability of stored and transported logs. In one case, a truck driver unloading freshly cut timber was pinned against a steel support beam when a massive log shifted unexpectedly, crushing his torso and leaving him suffocating under several tons of wood. In another, a machine operator adjusting a conveyor was struck across the chest by a slipping log, ribs fracturing, lungs compressed, and life extinguished within moments. These industrial tragedies show that logging deaths aren't confined to forests. Every stage of transport, storage, processing carries lethal risk. Even in controlled settings, timber can behave unpredictably, reducing experience, caution, and skill to powerless vulnerability against crushing, fatal forces. If you made it this far, thank you for watching something this heavy. Leave a comment, hit subscribe, and if you want more deep dives into topics that most people won't touch, and I'll see you in the next one.